Good afternoon, everyone. This is Michelle Gramoglia, the President and CEO here at Woodland Pond. And after a few technical difficulties and a delay in when my address will be aired, we will be airing this as the weekly address for this week. The air date will actually be Wednesday, January 4th, 2023. And I hope that you all had a restful weekend and are looking forward to 2023 in the same way that I am. I actually don't have a lot of housekeeping type items for you this week for the address. And actually, I felt like it was a really timely opportunity to talk to you about something sort of related to New Year's resolutions. And although I don't typically read when I'm doing my addresses, I have been doing a significant amount of research based on some concerns that have arisen by myself and members of the interdisciplinary team about a topic that really kind of crosses over into the mental health and wellness task force. But I think with the start of the year, it's important to acknowledge some facts and to talk to you about some concerns while at the same time citing some written information that we've been able to come across. And the topic is the use of substances, particularly alcohol and opioid medications in seniors, and the alarming uptick that researchers have seen in the abuse of alcohol and opioid pain medications in seniors really since the pandemic started. This is not an increase that is solely being experienced by seniors. This is something that society as a whole, at least in America, is reporting as well, particularly as it relates to the alcohol. But a significant amount of literature is coming out in our field about how significant the increases have become in seniors. And I have to be honest, we are seeing it here on campus. We are seeing, year over year increases in alcohol and wine consumption for measurable ways that we look at it in the dining room or via the deliveries that are coming in from outside. We are seeing it significantly when we have residents that are transferring from independent living into our higher levels of care. And the issue there is that in independent living, a resident is, controlling everything about alcohol consumption, food consumption, beverage consumption, medication consumption. And then when you move into the health center, whether it be assisted living or garden view or skilled nursing, there are regulations around a lot of those things. Now, of course, you still have autonomy, but it's not as it was in independent living. So it is increasingly common and very concerning about how often we are now seeing residents coming into assisted living, garden view, or skilled nursing with what appear to certainly be use disorders related to alcohol and pain medications. And I think that it's time here at the community that we sort of talk more openly about it. And we as a mental health task force and as a leadership team really need to be exploring options for support for our residents. But I think that starting the conversation begins with talking a little bit about the research that has been done recently and information that's coming out. So I found similar information in a number of articles, but the article that I'm going to be reading from today is dated from September 14th of 2022, and it's entitled Substance Abuse and Addiction in Older Adults. This is from the 2023 American Addiction Center, and that's a copyrighted website. So I do apologize because I will be looking down a bit as I read. I'm not a professional broadcaster. So some of the concerning things I'm going to excerpt from this, but I can leave a copy of this at Concierge for those that are interested and send an email link out with the weekly address this week. This article cites that 10% of seniors reported binge drinking in the last month. So binge drinking is typically, I'm not going to quantify it specifically here, but that's where you're having an excessive number of alcoholic beverages in a single sitting. And that's what seniors are self-reporting. That's a relatively high number. I think more concerningly, though, is the article goes on to say that, and then this subsection is entitled Alcohol Misuse Among the Elderly. Researchers have determined that the use and misuse of alcohol among older individuals has increased significantly. Overall, alcohol is the most frequently reported substance of abuse for persons age 65 and older. There has been a steady increase in alcohol use in men and women above age 60 years old, and with a significant increase in binge drinking among women age 60 or older. I'm going to take a break here. We are seeing that at Woodland Pond significantly. Without a doubt, we are seeing evidence of significant binge drinking among particularly female residents, whether it be in our dining room, whether it be in incidents that occur where we're finding residents have had a fall and they're intoxicated. There's no question that what happens outside of our community also happens within our community, but we really want to try and find ways to help our residents be supported through a reduction in that alcohol use and making sure that medication use is appropriate as indicated by your physicians. The article goes on to say that alcohol abuse is especially dangerous in senior citizens. Over time, the abuse of alcohol causes harmful effects on brain structure and function that can lead to a decline in cognitive function and memory. So, of course, we're always trying to reduce ways that our memory is going to go away, and looks like, science is really correlating alcohol use with memory loss. The body's ability to break down alcohol is also decreased with aging, causing alcohol to stay in the person's system longer. This leads to older people feeling increased central nervous system effects from lower amounts of alcohol. And for this reason, seniors who consume alcohol are at an increased risk for accidents, including falls, fractures, and car crashes. Many seniors take medications on a daily basis, including drugs that interact with alcohol. Consequently, alcohol consumption puts seniors at an increased risk for the harmful effects associated with alcohol medication interactions. A study published in the Journal of General Internal Medicine reported that more than 1 in 3 drinkers aged 60 years or older consume alcohols in quantity that are excessive or potentially harmful when combined with medications that they are taking. Drinking can be especially dangerous for seniors because alcohol can modify serum drug concentrations and increase drug toxicity. So if we just take a break for a second and do that math, and I have no reason to believe that any of these statistics are not accurate. I'm sure different studies say different things, but let's just go generally and say that this is correct. And I see it here, and I think that it's probably pretty on point. If 1 in 3 drinkers aged 60 years and older are consuming alcohol in quantities that are excessive or potentially harmful when combined with prescription medications that they are taking, we have roughly 350 residents here on campus. That means that at any given time, let's assume, 50% of our residents are teetotalers, which I don't think is true, but we're talking about a good percentage of residents here, 50 or more, that on a regular basis are drinking significant amount of alcohol. Just statistically, this is not empirical, but statistically, that's a lot of people, and that's a lot of people that are at risk. We are, really trying to identify areas that we can help support the residents. We know how hard COVID has been. Our mental health task force has been doing as much as we can to identify resources for you. We've been successful in bringing in a now 4-month-long speaker series with upcoming events scheduled in the coming months. We have identified a one-to-one therapy practitioner that is available to all of you, just a phone call away, and that information is available at concierge or reception. But I think we need to really be a little bit more honest about some of the realities that a lot of you are facing. And although there's a lot of stigma attached with addiction, that is changing. And more and more so, not only is mental health being discussed, but really so is substance use disorder. So whether that be alcohol or medication interactions or those kinds of things, a heavy reliance on opioid pain medications, these are all things that you are not alone in. These are all things that, with some transparency and honesty with your healthcare providers, with your therapy folks, with anyone here on our leadership team or clinical team that you feel comfortable discussing these things with, there are lots of resources out there that we can help you. Just in general, we want to see folks feeling supported and not feeling like, those substances are what or where you can find the answer. But it's the turn of the year. And, I've heard a couple of residents say, I'm too old to make a New Year's resolution, or, been there, done that, they never stick. If we have an opportunity here to know that this is a real problem among seniors in general, and there really is a problem here among some of the residents at Woodland Pond, maybe this is a good time to be introspective and think about, is this really what I want to be doing? And if not, how do I find those resources to help me reduce or eliminate this behavior? Certainly, I would implore all of you to never get behind the wheel of a car if you're feeling any kind of drug or alcohol interaction. I think you're all very good about that. I don't think that specific thing is as much of a risk. So I'm very thankful for that. But I do think, just based on the number of empty bottles that we see in the recycling bins and the deliveries that are coming in and the beer and wine that's being consumed through the dining room, we definitely have seen an uptick since COVID. So we're going to work on this. I don't know what the answer to that is right now, but I do think that the solution can lie in just being honest about what we are seeing. And just identifying that we have an opportunity here as a community to potentially influence some of those decisions. I hope that you're not suffering through this, but if you are, know that you're not alone. I think that's the most important message, is you definitely are not alone. You're hearing me say that, 1 in 3 seniors is, taking medication and drinking alcohol at a level that would be considered to be excessive by some studies. So you're not alone, but we also don't want to see anything avoidable happen to any of our residents. So if you are concerned about a neighbor, whether it be about substance abuse or opioid use or anything in general, cleanliness, diet or lack of eating, emotional state, that you can come to any of us. The primary contacts that you could come to in independent living would be really Sarah Leonard or myself. You can also speak to Angel or Mary Jo as our RNs. And in the health center, we do have a 2-person social services team. Nicole and Jasmine are available to you. And of course, any of the nurses. So again, I want you to know that you're not alone. The numbers say it. The studies are really coming out and saying it. I don't want you to feel stigma about it. I don't think that anybody wakes up and says, I want to drink, 2 boxes of wine in the next 2 days. But if we can help, we want to. So I think just starting the conversation is where we need to be right now. We will talk about this at our next mental health and wellness task force and think about what programs or opportunities we might have, maybe for a speaker to come in and really talk about this a bit. I hope this is a topic that's of interest to you, for yourself and for your neighbors. But again, I think the most important part of my message today is that you're not alone. And this could be something that we could try to chip away at as a community. So maybe that's a good goal for us for 2023. I'm around all week. If you need anything, you know where to find me. Thank you.